I think about three clusters of activity. There's the nation-state actors, there's the criminal actors, and increasingly the threat from hacktivists can't be ignored. So let me start in that descending order. 10 years ago, most companies, if you weren't a defense contractor and you weren't government, were not that worried about nation-state actors, with the exception of maybe China because of the intellectual property theft. The North Koreans were starting on the banks to get currency to evade sanctions. But that's changed, right? All of us now are in the crosshairs of the nation-state actors because China has started to come after our critical infrastructure. And, you know, everybody from transportation to water to air to ports, but even municipalities and now big companies, because of the knock-on effects into the economy or the services you provide, fall into that category. It was, I think, February 2024 when the director of FBI, the director of NSA, director of CISA, and the National Cyber Director testified before Congress to talk about these nation-state threats, and especially the threat to critical infrastructure in the U.S. And they talked about China pre-positioning in critical infrastructure for the intent of disrupting our ability to support a crisis on the other side of the planet, right? If Taiwan becomes a challenge or something in the South China Sea flares up, we've got to move tremendous amounts of people and material to that side of the globe, and they can disrupt that through cyber. But they're also interested in creating societal panic, and that's the phrase that was given to Congress. Let me translate that. That's digital terrorism. Right? At the time and place of escalating tensions, they can get the American people to turn inward and not be concerned with what's going on at the other side of the world. And that's a pretty dramatic thing if you think about it, the preparation to disrupt our fabric of society. So that's the apex, right? That's the nation-state efforts we're up against. In the criminal space, that's been advancing, and you know, Chris gave you some numbers. Most of that is in the criminal side of the impact of these breaches. They are increasingly using techniques that don't get secured through traditional antivirus and even endpoint detection and response services.